What's up guys, Julian here, and today we're going to make something with the chicken stock that we made last week. If you didn't watch how to make chicken stock, you can check it out right here. Today we're going to make a meal that has become very popular in recent years called ramen. Ramen is a Japanese-style noodle soup dish that is usually made from fish-based broth. Today we're going to be putting a Chinese twist on ramen and using some chicken stock, along with some other Chinese ingredients, as I grew up in a Chinese household. So without further ado, let's start cooking at home, just like mom. Ramen is a meal that can cost anywhere from $7 to $15 if you buy it in a restaurant in the US. However, the ingredients cost far less than that, and it's incredibly easy to make at home. So today we're going to be using chicken stock. Of course you can go more traditional and make a fish stock, but I prefer chicken stock as this is what I grew up on. You will also want some miso paste, which kind is up to your personal taste. Feel free to experiment. Today I'm going to use some shiro miso. You will obviously need some noodles as well, which kind again is up to you of course. Today we will be using ramen noodles. You will also want to include some sort of vegetable. I'm using a vegetable known as choy sum. It is a dark leafy green that has a taste similar to that of broccoli. Of course, if you live in a place that you cannot get this, you may want to try out yu choy or bok choy, as those have become more popular nowadays. Of course, if you can't even find those, feel free to use some napa cabbage. You might also want to include some sort of meat as well. A more common meat found in ramen is pork belly or chasu. I was unable to find any, but I was able to find some gyoza which go nicely on any occasion, such as in soup. But remember, this is your bowl of soup, so feel free to use whatever you want, such as sliced chicken breast or even steak. You might also want to include a chicken egg. We are going to soft boil them. Usually the egg is seasoned, and I will teach you how to do a simple seasoning of this egg. But if you do not want to go that far, it's perfectly fine to just use a soft-boiled egg. And for garnishing this meal, we're going to use scallions, or as they're more commonly known, green onions. This is a standard in almost any type of ramen that you get, so I suggest you pick up some. I'm also going to be using some cilantro as well, as I believe it adds a nice fresh kick to your ramen. These next two ingredients are optional, but they are essential for me as they have become somewhat of a comfort flavor for me. You may want to have some oyster sauce, as it will add a delicious flavor to your soup, and also some chili garlic sauce, as this will add a nice kick to it as well. Now we're going to start with boiling and then marinating the egg. The marination process can take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours if you're going to try to do it the day of, but I suggest that you do it overnight if you want better results. So you should plan ahead. Aside from the egg, we're going to need soy sauce. This will provide some color along with salt and a nice flavor to the egg. You will also need some mirin, which is a Japanese sweetened sake. This will add an additional complexity to the flavor along with some sweetness to go along with the salty flavor of the soy sauce. To begin, we're going to add all our ingredients to a plastic bag. You're going to want around 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin, and then somewhere around 6 tablespoons of water. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of the ingredients to the bag. We can seal it up and put it aside in a safe place for now. Next, we're going to put our eggs in the pot while the water is still cold. This is a key step, as if you put them into the water while it is boiling, the egg will usually crack. Now we can turn on the burner and cook the egg. It will take around 5 minutes to cook your eggs for a runny yolk, and if you want a custard-like yolk, you can cook your egg for 7 to 9 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the burner. While the egg has been boiling, I've prepared a bowl of ice water, which will come in handy once the egg is done cooking because it will stop the egg from cooking once they've come out of the boiling water. Once the eggs are done, we can transfer them to ice water quickly and leave them in the ice water for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes has passed, we can start deshelling the eggs. these shells should come off pretty easily because they were in the ice water. Once we have finished deshelling the eggs, we can go ahead and put them in the marinade and then put them in the refrigerator for up to 2 days. Now we can start on our ramen. You will most likely want 2 pots for this, one for heating up your soup and the other for cooking everything else in. So I'm going to pour some of our stock into the larger pot and turn on the burner to medium heat to bring it to a low simmer. In the other pot I'm going to bring some water to a boil. You don't want to worry about any of the white floating things in the stock, as that is just rendered out fat, and as soon as it heats up it's going to dissolve back into your stock. The cook time can vary depending on how thick the vegetables are, but as a general rule of thumb it will take anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes. While that is boiling, I'm going to add some miso paste to the stock. This will add some miso flavor to our broth. How much you add is based upon how much you like the flavor of miso. So I'm going to go ahead and add about this much miso paste to the stock. I'm also going to stir it up a little to start getting it dissolved. While everything is boiling in the water, we can go ahead and prep our bowl, which is as simple as putting about a tablespoon of oyster sauce to the bottom of the bowl. If you're planning on using some leftover meat in this meal, such as a cooked chicken breast, I suggest that you put it on the bottom of the bowl while it's still cold. This is because the soup will heat it up, and that way you ensure that you won't overcook the meat by cooking it twice in the microwave or something like that. Once our vegetables are done, we can transfer them into the soup pot to keep them warm. By this point we can probably keep the pot on low heat just to keep everything inside of it warm. And don't worry too much about straining the vegetables, as they are going into a soup anyway and don't need to be dry. So I'm going to go ahead and just transfer the vegetables. Next I'm going to cook the gyoza, which is as simple as boiling them for 7 to 10 minutes. Of course, you can just follow the instructions on the back of the bag. After that, we're going to want to cook our noodles. Now, depending on what type of noodles you have, the cook time may vary. If you are using dried ramen like I am, you should cook them around 7 to 10 minutes. Once the noodles are done, it is time to put everything into the bowl. I like to start with the noodles and then put the vegetables and dumplings. And then we add the soup. Then we can slice our egg in half and place it into the mix. And I like to garnish everything with some chopped scallions and chopped cilantro as well. And of course, we can't forget our hot sauce. Now, what sort of drink will go well with a bowl of ramen, you ask? I'm glad you asked, because today's picks are Sapporo, which is a lighter beer imported from Japan. I think it pairs nicely with ramen, which can tend to be a saltier and sometimes spicier meal, so it's nice to have something that isn't too heavy. As a second choice, I suggest Singha. It's a beer from Thailand. It is a lager that has an all-around enjoyable flavor that pairs nicely with ramen along with a lot of other Asian cuisines. So now that we have our drink and our bowl of soup, let's go ahead and dig in. There's nothing like a bowl of ramen after a hard day's work, and the sopuro pairs pretty nicely with it as well. So that's how you make a bowl of ramen, guys. It's incredibly simple, and you can do it for yourself at home. If you have any questions about the meal, leave them in the comment section below. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Julian, and bon appetit.